Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. You already know this is The Average Servant, and I have been praying and seeking God's face on marriage. I have to do it because, you know, I have been married before, and I'm going through a cycle of events because of that marriage. So finally, God said again, you know, because he's very patient. Very patient. He reminded me of the days of Noah. The days of Noah consisted of a bunch of marriage and remarriage. Not the same couple getting back together. Not restoration, but just moving on. And in those days, the people, they started so many different relationships, you know, the population was out of control. And it seems that Noah's line was kind of getting locked out of the way because they kind of were dying off because they were, you know, married to a spouse. Then after bloodline, you know, ended, it ended. And, you know, that's also a testament to today because we're overpopulated and it's destroying the planet. And the ozone layer, which I call Holy Spirit, is leaving. So that's just a spiritual assessment of what's going on. Ozone layer leaving, Holy Spirit leaving, okay? It's covering the earth, but it's leaving. So, and then what did God do with Noah? Got him ready to leave, okay? So while everybody was judging Noah and saying, Noah, who says that you're better? We know God too. You say that you're better than us. It's like a Job situation. You say that you're better than us, you know, but Noah know that he's practicing God's law, okay? He know that he's not into the marriage after marriage and, you know, making widows and all this kind of stuff like that, sexual immorality. He know he's not into that. So what God do? He wiped him out. Take Noah, he wiped him out. And we know that they were wiped out due to marriage, because God said that these people are like buying and selling, just like what Jesus did in the temple when he came and turned it over. I don't like what they're doing. When you purchase your bride, you purchase your bride. What is all this buying and selling and giving it back and all that? That's not what we're going to do. So he said, Noah, I love you because you have kept your woman. Your sons, they're following you just as your forefathers have done. And they're keeping their woman. So if they listen to their father, who is my servant, they're going to save their lives and their bloodline by getting in this boat. Let's move on to Sodom and Gomorrah, baby. Sodom and Gomorrah was a depiction of sexual immorality. You have gay sex in there, all kind of stuff. Sexual immorality is for the fornicator, okay? Sexual immorality is for the fornicator. The adulterer is for adulterer, and for people who are married and cheating. So this was a whole time of sexual immorality, baby. And as you can see, Lot had son-in-laws that was prepared for his daughters. So he was still trying to do the dang on thing, even though Lot wasn't perfect. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he was saved. And look what his daughters did to him afterwards. So they continued the immorality. But God had allowed it. Just like he had allowed Abraham to be married to Sarah. But the lines that they produced became the Moabites and the Ammonites, okay? And they soon became enemies of the Israelites, all right? So let's move on again. So then we go back to another part of marriage, which was Abraham and Abimelek. So Abraham said, hey, this is my sister. And Sarah said, hey, that's my brother. So he said, well, send her to me since you know that. And this is going to stop the part where people say, well, I did it with a good conscience and God going to respect me because I love her and I don't love her one no more. No, God don't respect that. God don't respect that. But maybe now you can't hear. That's why I stopped you from sinning against me. You haven't touched her yet. But before you do, you might want to get her back over to Abraham because that's that man's wife. She's a married woman. Okay? And if you don't get her back over to Abraham, I'm going to kill you and the rest of your line. Baby, God don't play. Because that's what I'm fighting for today. Not physically, but spiritually. Because marriage in the kingdom is very, very, very important. It is for humans. It is a test. And that's why even when Job went through his test, what he said, I don't disrespect the widows. You know, I'm taking care of people. I got my woman, my same kids. God, what's going on? He loved to test his faithful. And he loved to chastise his faithful. He still told Job he was right. But at the end of the day, he said, I am who I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm me. And if I see you do a test, see you do a test. It is what it is. Now, the final result, the result of marriage, not just the final, but another story is Hosea and Gomer. God sent his servant Hosea to marry a prostitute. So they had kids and all that kind of stuff. Then Gomer left, and Gomer wanted to be with somebody else who had money or who had this and that, you know, status. And then that man wound up getting rid of her, and then God told Hosea, you go get your wife back, go pay for her. And that was just for what Jesus would do. He would come, God will send Jesus. Jesus will pay the price to get the wife back, who is Israel, you know, who is God's wife, who is Jesus' wife. Us, the tribes, okay? So, what people are doing these days, the buying and selling, we're back at, this world is under a marriage and divorce pandemic. It's not a COVID pandemic. It's a marriage and divorce pandemic. Buying and selling in the temples again, and we know how upset Jesus get about that. So all I'm saying is that ask God what you should do about the situation that you are in. If you are remarried or marrying someone who has already been married, things like that, you need to pray about that, because you could be making a deadly mistake, because the feet lead to Sheol, they say. Okay, and you know well Sodom and Gomorrah was headed, baby, and that's all sexual immorality. So nobody's safe. Not the fornicator, not the adulterer. You're not safe. All right. Let me know.